Hello there, welcome to Conflict News 2042 complete situation report for you from Israel-Palestine conflict, where Palestinian fighters are facing the ground incursion, ground offensive by Israeli forces now after almost a month-long air campaign. It seems that Israeli military has started digging up Hamas tunnels. Hamas's main strength is their underground network. Israeli military seems to be approaching this underground network, it seems. Secondly, US bases are continuously coming under attacks in Syria and Iraq. Two more bases were attacked within the last 24 hours while Antony Blinken was holding talks in Tel Aviv with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Thirdly, strikes by Israeli Air Force on hospitals, schools, ambulances, dozens killed, around 10,000 casualties so far. And fourthly, Hassan Nasrallah spoke last night. What did he say? Is Hezbollah going to fully participate in the war or not? What did he say? We'll try to sum up his speech. Firstly, viewers, it seems that Israeli military, which entered Gaza almost a week ago through a ground operation, is trying to reach underground tunnel network used by Hamas, PIJ, other Palestinian fighters. Now, bulldozers, excavators are busy. Ground is being dug up in some areas which are under Israeli control. Areas of Gaza. Israeli military is operating on Gaza territory. I talked about four main fronts. From four different sides, Israeli military entered Gaza in the last few days. In some previous videos yesterday, I showed you on a map how Israeli military from Beit Lahia, Beit Hanun side towards these territories entered Gaza. From eastern side, Israeli military entered Gaza and reached Gaza's coast. And from southern front towards Khan Yunis as well, Israeli military entered Gaza. Now, Israeli boots on the ground in Gaza, tanks, artillery pieces, APCs, infantry fighting vehicles, all on Gaza. And Israeli military has cut off Gaza into two. Northern and southern Gaza are cut off. Roads leading to southern from northern, vice versa, are under Israeli military control. So, on the ground, Israeli military in control, but under the ground, Hamas in control. That is why now a digging operation has been launched by Israeli military in Gaza. Israeli military wants to reach the underground tunnel network, which is the main strength of Hamas PIJ fighters. So, it will be interesting to see, can Israeli military reach this underground network of tunnels? How will Hamas protect itself now against this digging operation? If digging is successful and somehow Israeli military enters these tunnels, what will happen next? That remains to be seen. Meanwhile, Israeli military seems to be faced with stiff resistance to the east of Beit Lahia, Beit Hanun and Atatra. Both are in a northern part of Gaza, on Gaza-Israel border. Israeli military entered Gaza territory towards these three places, Beit Hanun, Beit Lahia, Atatra a few days ago. But all these three towns, places are not under the control of Israeli military. Stiff resistance ongoing there. I showed you a video last night about how Hamas PIJ fighters are encountering this ground offensive empty-handed. They, with explosive devices, rush towards tanks, APCs. They place IEDs on these tanks, APCs. The purpose of placing these explosive devices on the tanks is to blow up the trophy which is placed on a tank to protect it. The device destroys the trophy, then anti-tank guided missile is fired and tank is completely destroyed. So a very interesting technique adopted by Hamas PIJ fighters. Massive ground digging operation has been launched in Gaza by Israeli military to reach one end or some part of the underground tunnel network used by Hamas, PIJ, other Palestinian groups. Secondly, was 2 more US military bases came under attacks in the last 24 hours in Iraq and Syria. 41 attacks so far since the 7th of October on US military bases in Iraq and Syria. Obviously, attacks are being carried out by Iran-backed elements. Islamic resistance in Iraq. Al-Makawat al-Islamiyya fil Iraq has claimed responsibility for these attacks. Firstly, near Erbil city in Iraq, 2 kamikaze drones were fired on Al-Harir airbase of US military. The actual nature of damage is not known, but Al-Makawat al-Islamiyya fil Iraq has confirmed in a statement this attack. Second attack in northwestern Syria, it happened on Kharab al-Jir airport, which is under the use of US military. Here some rockets have been fired. In coming days, we could see use of cruise missiles too by these groups, which have announced that they will accelerate their attacks on US military bases. Meanwhile, Antony Blinken, was in Israel yesterday, around more than 24 hours ago. He landed in Israel, held talks with Benjamin Netanyahu, Israeli Prime Minister. No progress made towards a humanitarian ceasefire. US concerned, it does not want this war to expand because it knows that its military interests in the Middle East will be endangered. At the same time, US wants Hamas to be crushed. So US is backing Israel's ground operation. It is opposing ceasefire, but it does not want this war to escalate. So it is threatening neighbors that no neighboring country should be involved in this conflict. Thirdly, we have deadly strikes on hospitals, ambulances by Israeli Air Force. 3 hospitals hit. Several ambulances at the entrance of Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza were hit in an airstrike. Dozens of people were killed. Healthcare workers, patients were killed. Then Indonesian hospital was hit too in Gaza, and Al-Quds hospital entrance was hit too. Al-Nasser Children Hospital entrance was hit as well. How many people killed in these airstrikes? Dozens. And we know that Jabalia refugee camp was hit thrice before that. Refugee camp. Around 200 were killed there. Israel claimed that a Hamas leader was hiding in the underground tunnel system beneath the hospital, beneath the refugee camp, Jabalia refugee camp. Around 200 killed there. Dozens killed on attacks near at the entrance of hospitals. Israeli military says that Hamas fighters are using these ambulances for transporting weapons and their fighters. That is why these ambulances were hit in an airstrike. But any evidence? Israel has not shared any evidence so far that ambulances are being used by Hamas, PIJ, Palestinian fighters to transport weapons and fighters. So people dying, civilians dying. How many deaths total so far? In total, around 10,000. A school was hit today as well. Around 10,000 deaths on Palestinian side. 10,000 include Hamas fighters too, obviously, because how it is difficult to distinguish between Hamas, PIJ, other fighters and civilians, because civilians are supporting them. So it's difficult to distinguish. 10,000 casualties on Palestine side so far, and more than 30,000 injured. A strike still continuing on Gaza. Fourthly, with Hassan Nasrallah spoke last night. Hezbollah chief delivered a speech. Millions of people across the world watched his speech. What did he say? Firstly, he ended his speech with a sentence. He said, all options are on the table. If you remember, I said on Thursday that Hezbollah was not likely to fully join the war, and that is what happened. He said Hezbollah has been part of this war since the 8th of October. That war started on the 7th of October, and on the 8th of October, Hezbollah joined. And Hezbollah joined the war because it wanted to ensure that all Israeli military resources are not deployed to Gaza front. So because of Hezbollah's attacks from Lebanon on Israeli border areas, Israel had to deploy a large portion of its military resources to its border with Lebanon. So from the 8th of October, Hezbollah has been part of the war, Hassan Nasrallah said. Further participation, more participation will depend on two factors. What happens in Gaza and what Israel acts in terms of actions against Lebanon. Nasrallah basically said that if Gaza is totally, if Gaza comes under total pressure and Hamas, PIJ are likely to lose, then Hezbollah would involve, or if Israel or US start conducting large-scale strikes or ground offensive on Lebanon, then Hezbollah could be involved as well. Hassan Nasrallah tried to prove that Israel is a weak country. He said that Israel getting support from Europe, from US. Everyone is coming, rushing to Israel to announce diplomatic support, financial support. But what happened on the 7th of October has exposed the military capabilities of Israel. Israel is a fragile state. He said Arab countries are calling us, telling us not to join the war. What US is doing, it will face consequences. US has sent its carrier strike group in the Mediterranean Sea. If US conducts strikes on Hezbollah, US will pay the price. Yemen will join as well. Yemeni Houthi fighters will fire missiles. They're already firing missiles, by the way. So Hassan Nasrallah threatened, he sent a message to US, Israel, Europe, that if war expands, war goes on in Gaza, if Lebanon is hit, Lebanon is attacked, Hezbollah and other groups in the region will join. That is what he said. No announcement regarding full-scale participation, but he showed solidarity with the people of Palestine. He said Zionist forces, he used this term, quote unquote, are killing people. People are dying, but those who are dying, they are martyrs. And our religious belief is that they are alive, they are not dead. So he tried to motivate people. He said, be ready, be on the alert, make preparations. Anytime a call can be issued, so all of us should be ready. That is what he said. This is his first speech in the start of the war. Hezbollah is definitely a big threat to Israel because Israeli military resources are deployed because of deployed on Lebanon border, because Hezbollah is hitting Israeli military targets very precisely on Israel controlled territories. Communication systems, radars, jamming systems are being hit very precisely by Hezbollah fighters. That is why air defense systems, thousands of IDF soldiers, drones, Air Force jets, bombers are deployed to a northern border of Israel with Lebanon. Thank you for watching.